Nous sommes en audience publique, Monsieur le Président.
We are in open session, Mr. President.
Please proceed. So, Mr. Witness, you've been telling us about the area of location 1, and what I would like to ask you is, in the period 2006, were you living in this area?
I was living at location 2.
And generally, could you tell us in the period 2005-2006 what the relationship was between the Kalenjin community and the Kikuyus?
For 2005 and 2006, just repeat, please.
You've told us already in the private session that there were both Kalenjin and Kikuyus living in the areas of location 1 as well as location 2. Now, between these two ethnic groups, what was the relationship? Were they friendly to each other? Was there any tension?
Yes, the difference between our ethnic started at after referendum. After referendum, when ODM was formed, and the campaign started, this is when the relation started getting not good.
Okay. Help us. The referendum you refer to, is this the referendum in 2005?
Yes.
Now, without revealing your identity, just answer yes or no. Were you personally involved in politics during this period?
No.
But can you help us? What was the issue for the referendum in 2005?
The issue of referendum was to change the constitution.
And where you resided in location 2, and even in the wider surrounding areas, including location 1, what was the impact of this referendum on the people living there?
The impact was not, after referendum, I remember President Kibaki sacked the ODM people who are opposing the referendum. So after that sacking, the relationship began to separate. Yeah, that is, I don't know how I can explain it.
Okay, let's break it down. In your area, which people predominantly supported the ODM?
There were laws, Kalenjins, lawyers, So some most supported ODM.
And the Kikuyus, do you know who they, or which party they predominantly supported?
They supported ENU. That was the yes campaign.
And do you know what the outcome of the referendum was?
Yes. The yes was defeated.
And you said President Kibaki then sacked certain people, and this had an impact on your area. What impact did this have?
The friendship which we had with our neighbors, maybe Kalenjins and Laws, started to differ because they also regard Kikuyu people as people who rigs election, maybe who steals votes and something like that. So the relationship started to differ.
And were you still living in location 2 in 2007?
Yes.
And it's an agreed fact that there were elections in Kenya in December 2007. Were you living in location 2 in the period of the campaigns for these elections?
Yes, I was living there.
Did you happen to attend any of the campaign rallies that took place in this period?
Yes, I attended one. And I think I attended two, one for B, one for ODM, and the other one was not, it was Uhuru who was passing within Eldoret. So I went there just to have to see him.
Okay, we'll take those in stages. I believe you said one for B. Is B a name?
Yes.
Could you spell B, please?
It was say B, S-A-I. Then I usually spell it B-double-I.
So the surname is B-double-I.
Yes.
Okay, we'll come back to that. And did you say one for ODM?
Yes.
And did you say the final one was just when the current President Kenyatta was passing? Is that correct?
Yes, but Kenyatta, I think, had come earlier before Liam had passed earlier.
Okay, for the time being, let's restrict it to the ones you physically attended. So let's start with the first one, the one for the person you refer to as Say B. Firstly, who was Say B? Do you know?
Yes, he was campaigning to be an MP of Eldoret North constituency.
And do you know under what platform he was seeking to become an MP for Eldoret North? Under what political party?
Yes, he was in PNU, but PNU was, there were some various parties who had formed together to form PNU.
But is it correct that he was seeking to become the PNU MP for Eldoret North? Is that right?
Yes.
Now, you said you attended this rally. Do you recall when it was that you attended it?
I can't recall the date. It was wrong, but I remember it was around between 12 to 1 p.m. is when I went there, around 12.
And do you recall the month in 2007?
Well, I can't guess, but I can't recall.
That's fine. And what was the turnout? Was this well attended? How many people attended? Just an estimate.
There was not a lot of. There was not a lot of people. Just around 100 or 200 people who had attended.
And where was this particular rally? Just the location.
It was location 1.
Now, moving on, you say you also attended, or at least you became aware of, a time when the current president, Kenyatta, also passed through. And was this a campaign rally as well?
Yes, it was a campaign rally.
And do you recall where this occurred, where this particular rally took place?
I remember he was heading to a place called Ziwa. That was where that rally was to be held.
So he was heading to Ziwa. Did he stop off somewhere?
Yes, he stopped for a short period in Eldoret because it was on the same way where he was heading to.
And when he stopped off in Eldoret, was there a rally that was held?
No, I can't say it was not a rally because people blocked his convoy and they demanded that he address them.
The people that blocked his convoy and demanded that he address them, did they do this in an aggressive way, or was it a peaceful request?
Yes, I hope I'm not criticised for not rising on a previous occasion, but a friend has asked one or two leading questions which may not have been wholly appropriate, and that is, I submit, even though it's in the alternative, a somewhat leading question.
Mr. Rupa, are you saying on this occasion you do mind the leading question?
Yes, because it could have been dealt with in another way. just ask him what happened.
Well, Your Honour, I did put both alternatives to the witness, but I could ask the question differently. I don't think this is controversial.
All right. Proceed then.
Were you present when the current President Kenyatta's convoy was stopped? Were you there? Did you see it?
Yes, I saw it.
Mr. Mofade, can we be more precise and also not introduce terminology that might confuse either the record or the witness? Here we're talking about 2007, isn't it?
That's correct, Your Honour.
Was the need of talking about the current President Kenyatta? The witness had indicated that Mr. Kenyatta was passing by. Can we limit it to that? By the name he was known or title he had at the time, and not lace it up with current affairs in a way that may lead to confusion.
I'm sure we can.
So that he doesn't have to think all the time to overcome that obstacle you threw in. Thank you.
I'm sure we can do that, Your Honour. So, you said you saw it. Could you tell us what happened? What did you see?
Yes. President Kenyatta, by then he was not a president, but he was heading to Ziwa. So I happened to be a place called Paradise. So at this place, it's when I saw a convoy. I didn't know whether it was Kenyatta, but the way it approached that area, so many people started moving around the road, blocking the road, and shouting, "Oh, we want to hear from you, we want to hear from you, we want to hear from you." So because on these campaign rallies, sometimes there could be, whenever there is a rally, fracas could erupt anytime. So I decided to move far bit. So where I was, I could see Huru coming from at the top of the car, and tried to talk to the people, but I didn't hear exactly what he was talking because I was a bit far.
And just for the sake of the transcript, that's line 11. Did you say fracas could erupt? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Now, what then happened? Did you see anything else after the people demanded that he talk to them?
So there was nothing happened because when I saw it, I didn't like to be in campaign areas most of the time because of anything could happen within the campaign areas. So I decided to go. Whenever I saw he's talking to people, then I decided to go on my own.
And then you said you attended an ODM rally. Well, before I go there, do you remember what month this meeting, this encounter with the convoy of Mr. Kenyatta happened in 2007? Do you remember the month?
It was either late November or early December.
And then you said you also attended an ODM rally. Do you remember when this was?
It was on this month of December.
And could you tell us where this rally took place?
It took place at 64 Stadium.
And where is 64 Stadium? Where is it?
In Eldoret.
You've said it was in December. Do you know how, if you don't remember, please don't guess, but do you recall how close to the date of the elections it was? Was it the beginning of December? Was it the middle? Or was it towards the end?
It was close to election because it was the last meeting of ODM in that area.
I just want you to help us with 64 Stadium itself. What is this stadium? Is it what kind of stadium is it?
Yes, it's a stadium. The people go there to practice football. There is a football field there. And people start to go there to run for practice.
So is it a sports stadium? Is it a sports stadium where they also play football?
Yes.
And on this particular occasion, could you give an estimate of the number of people that attended this rally?
And see, there was a lot of people because it was packed.
And again, I hesitate to do this because numbers are always difficult, but would you say it was in the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, hundreds? Can you estimate?
Maybe tens of thousands, maybe, if I can guess.
Sorry to disturb. We are having difficulties to understand the witness at this side. I'm just wondering if you could ask him to speak a little louder. Thank you.
Witness, if you could lean closer to the microphone and you can amplify the voice a little as well. Thank you.
Okay.
That's better.
I'm grateful, Your Honor. Now, this, you said tens of thousands. This stadium, was there seating capacity as well as room for people to stand? Do you recall that?
The stadium itself has no seats. It has a small area where VIP people comes and they are being given seats to sit there, but there is no seat in the stadium. It is just an open, so people are standing.
And do you recall what time of the day this particular rally took place? Or at least what time did you arrive there?
I arrived there that it was around 2 to 3 p.m. when I went there.
And You say it was an ODM rally. How did you get to know about this rally?
During the past week, it was so much advertised through posters, radio, media. So there was a lot of advertisement on this rally.
Now, you've told us that you weren't involved in politics yourself. What made you curious to attend this rally, as well as the first rally for the PNU candidate?
It was because of my friends. My friends kept on insisting me, oh, let's go to this rally, let's go to this rally. And I attended this Kenyatta, while Kenyatta was passing. It's my friends who had also told me, don't sit around, let's go and see what is going on. So it's through friends that I attend because I don't like politics myself.
Now, back to the ODM rally at 64 Stadium, did you see any members of the ODM there?
Yes, they were there.
Did you know of members of the ODM before you attended that rally?
Yes, I knew them.
Do you know if any leaders of the ODM were present at this rally?
Yes, they were there.
Do you know the names of those leaders that attended?
Yes, I remember there was Raila Odinga, there was Ruto, there was Ngil, and the others. I can't remember whether Mudavadi was there, but they were only all ODM. Pentagon was there.
Did you say only ODM Pentagon was there?
The members of the Pentagon were there.
Were all the members of the Pentagon there, to your knowledge?
I can't remember, but I think they were there.
And in a stadium packed with tens of thousands, as you say, how was it that you were able to see these Pentagon members from where you were?
There was a bit high because the stadium itself is just down, and where the people stand is raised up. It's at least like this table, so the stadium is just down there. So I was just at this up area.
I think the witness has indicated with I think it's the legal officer's table in the courtroom to indicate the raised area, just for the transcript. But this raised area, are you saying this is where the Pentagon members were, or where you were?
That is where I was.
And what part of the stadium were the Pentagon members?
They were at where the VIP people come to. There was a shed, and they were in that shed. Just like this court. That shed is like this court, so they were just inside there.
Did you say there was a shade?
Yes.
And the Pentagon members were in this shade, underneath the shade?
Is it a shade or shed?
Yes.
Which is what I was trying to clarify. I believe the witness said yes when I said, did you say there was a shade?
It may be a matter of... okay.
Perhaps I ask him to describe what... Mr. Witness, what do you mean when you say there was a shade? Can you describe what you're referring to?
Yes, I'm wondering if Your Honour could take that
yes,
question.
yes. Did you say it was a shade, or did you say there was a shed?
There was a shed. Can I describe?
Yes, please.
I'll describe. It's a shed. What I mean by a shed is post, and it was something built by. I think there are posts. Then there is a iron sheet roof on top of it, but it's not covered on this side.
I think that's an accurate description of what you had said earlier. You did say shed, I heard. But proceed.
I say the shed.
And were you able to see those under this shed clearly from where you were?
Yes, I could see them clearly, but since the stadium was packed, there were these media people with their cameras they were raised up, so I could see them clearly, but there was that interference of people jumping here and there, and those others were waving placards.
What was the general atmosphere amongst those who attended the rally? Leave aside the Pentagon members for now. How would you describe it?
It was attended by the ODM members, ODM supporters, majority of them.
And were the ODM supporters doing anything or saying anything?
Yes, they were singing ODM, ODM. Some calling, oh, we want to see Ruto, want to see Baba, so Baba they referred to right.
And just the last thing you said we want to see, I'm sorry, the transcript didn't pick up a number of the things. Could you repeat that,
Ruto,
please?
he said, we want to see Ruto, and they said we want to see Baba. By Baba, they were referring to Raila.
I'll wait for you. And did any of the Pentagon members speak at this rally?
Yes, they spoke.
Well, which ones spoke? Did all of them speak?
I remember there were others who spoke, then Mr. Ruto spoke, and I could not wait for Raila to finish speaking, so I left the study.
Okay, we'll come back to when you left, but how could you hear them speak from where you were?
They had this addressing system, microphone, big speakers.
And then the next question is, how could you tell who was speaking at a particular time?
I could see them speaking.
So you started by saying Mr. Ruto spoke. Did you hear what Mr. Ruto said?
Yes, I had.
Please tell us what he said, or what you heard.
Okay. He started addressing people, telling people that want peace. They want peace. And he went on just giving the manifesto of ODM. Then, before he could finish, at least he went on because he referred, what I can say, he referred Kikuyu people as a grabbers. Let me say like as a grabbers. So at the end of the speech where, before I left, he said that Kikuyu people will be put on a pickup and be taken back to Central after ODM.
And just the first part of your response there, did you say he referred to Kikuyu people as grabbers?
He referred them as grabbers.
Did you hear him say anything else?
Well, I can't really remember, but what touched me is that one, because he was speaking in, sometimes he used to speak in, what can I call riddles. He used to address his supporters in a different way. Whenever he's talking, his supporters, whenever they look at him when he's talking, they got a message which maybe other people could not get.
Well,
Line 20, did you say he used to speak in riddles?
Yeah, sometimes on his speech.
and can I ask, what language was Mr. Ruto speaking in on this particular occasion?
I remember he spoke, was speaking in Swahili, but he spoke a very, he spoke, and he spoke very small in Kalenjin. And he was speaking in Swahili, but few words in Kalenjin.
Now, for the time being, don't say what languages you do speak, but do you speak Kalenjin? Do you speak Kalenjin?
I cannot speak it fluently, but I can hear when someone is speaking. I can pick some words from the conversation.
Now, going back to this speech you said you heard, that the Kikuyu people will be put in a pickup and taken back to Central after ODM. What did you, as a listener, what did you understand this to mean?
By then, I didn't understand anything because I was not in. I was not interested in anything, so I just took it off. I took it off my head.
What was the response of the crowd to Mr. Ruto's speech?
It was people started shouting to become how, and people started shouting, oh yeah, and they started saying, oh, Kikuyu should go back to Central. So when this was going on, I became afraid, and I decided to leave the study.
What did you understand by Central?
Central is where Kikuyu came from.
You said you became afraid and decided to leave. Why were you afraid?
Because of the behaviors of the ODM supporters and the impact of what Mr. Ruto had said during that time.
How long in total did you personally stay within that rally?
It was an hour or less than an hour.
And I asked you what you understood Central to mean. What did you understand the word you used earlier to mean when you said grabbers? What do you understand that to mean?
Grabbers, they refer them as Kikuyu because Kikuyu people are the ones who usually buy a piece of land at least in Rift Valley. Other communities, some that don't buy, they refer going back to where they came from. So Kikuyu does not refer going back to Central. He buys a land where he goes and he settles there.
In any event, you left the rally and without telling us anything that will identify you, where did you go after this?
After this, I went to location 4.
And what was the atmosphere like in locations 1, 2, and 4 after this rally?
So I'll start from there. When I went to location 4, the ODM supporters who had attended the meeting, some of them came at this location, and they started speaking frankly telling us, "Oh, you should go back to Central. We do not want you here." after election, you should go back to Central. These were the ODM supporters who came to location 4 on that day. So I can say after this rally, the atmosphere changed. People.
And how did you know these persons were ODM supporters? These persons saying you should go back to Central.
During this time, they referred to ODM supporters to be 41 community against one community. So these people were from, they were not from Kikuyu community, they were from other communities. So during this time, they referred Kikuyus to be hearing, and the other 41 community to support ODM.
When you say 41 communities, what do you mean?
I mean, in Kenya, there is 42 communities. And I mean, these 41 communities are other communities like Lowers, Luyas, PCs, and others. And they were against Kikuyu community.
So, again, I ask you, how did you know that the people who were saying go back to Central were ODM members first, and ODM members that had attended the rally?
Yes, those who are saying, because in location 4, most of them will work with our laws, and they're the one who used to tell us we will go back to Central Province. Mostly laws were the one in location 4.
And in the other locations?
Yeah, so when we moved to, after that, this meeting, when we moved to other locations, now there was a tension, and those people who were friends, they started cutting their friendship, and they could just speak for themselves. So these people, we have to evict them. And they used to say that.
And for you personally, how did this make you feel?
The impact of
the reaction of the ODM supporters that you've referred to, how did this make you feel in locations 1, 2, and 4?
So we became afraid. And I didn't know what will happen. So I was just afraid, hoping the election will end up as quickly as possible, such that we may see what will happen after the election.
Now, are you aware of any meetings that took place in the lead-up to the elections themselves? Any meetings between political parties and their members?
I don't get it.
Do you know of any meetings that took place? Let's start with the ODM members and supporters.
Within Eldoret town.
Within Eldoret town and within location 1, location 2.
Well, they used to have a meeting, but I heard they used to have a meeting, but I don't know. I had never attended one.
In your location, location 2, do you know if there were any ODM supporters who lived in that area?
Yes, many of them lived there.
And do you know what their ethnicity was, what their ethnic group was?
Yes, they are Kalenjins.
And did you have any course to interact with these persons before the election period in 2007? Were you friends with them before the election period in 2007?
Yes, before we were friends. We were working together. We were sharing so many things together before.
As a result of that, did you get to know any of their cultural practices within the Kalenjin community? My question was, because you were friends with with some of the Kalenjin people who lived in location 2, did you get to know some of their cultural practices within the Kalenjin community?
I don't coach or cultural.
Cultural. It's my accent this time.
They explain it so I that understand.
Traditions. The word tradition, the traditions of.
Mr. President took the question out of my mouth. Did you get to know any of the traditional practices within the Kalenjin community?
Yes.
And what traditions did you get to know as a result of your friendship with members of the Kalenjin community? What kind of traditions? Give us some examples.
From before, it was initiation when Kalenjin youth were moving from childhood to adulthood. So there was a tradition there. They did the whole thing.
Sorry, what do you mean by the whole thing? Could you explain?
I mean, during this period, they could go there when they are initiating these young boys to become adulthood. They could go there with beers. They could perform some ceremonies there in that place. They could stay there on it.
Do you know what the initiating of these young boys into manhood, do you know what it involved?
Please.
What was involved in initiating the young boys, the young Kalenjin boys, into manhood? What do you know what took place?
No, they kept it a secret. No one, apart from Kalenjin, no any other communities were allowed to go where they are.
Do you know what the ceremony was called?
Well, they usually call a ceremony Tumdo. So that is, I don't know whether it is, but they usually call it that Tumdo. So, that is how I understood it.
Could you attempt to spell Tumdo, the word you just mentioned?
It's T-U-M-D-O, Tumdo.
And do you know if this is a Kalenjin word or a Kiswahili word?
It's a Kalenjin word.
And Your Honours, before I move on from there to another topic, I think I probably ought to leave it there for the day.
Very well. We will then adjourn for the day. The curtains, or the blinds rather, would come down and the witness would be escorted from the courtroom, and then the chamber will rise.